Hello and welcome to Good Art the Podcast, episode number 16. This is your host, Kay Gerard. This is our first episode for 2021, and it features my friend, co-founder of Boom Concepts, father, street artist, part-time activist, D.S. Kinsel, from here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We discuss the residency that he and his wife currently have at the Westmoreland Museum of Art and the importance of paying your taxes, among many other things. This was my first in-person interview I had done in a long time. We both wore masks so you can kind of hear it in the recording. Hopefully you don't find that too obnoxious, but I thought it was sort of important to add in as kind of a little stamp of the time. Thanks. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Good Art, the podcast.
Yes, indeed. We're sitting at the Westmoreland Museum. Is it the Westmoreland Museum of Contemporary Art? Is that like the full name?
It's the Westmoreland Museum of American
Art. It's Friday the 13th.
Spooky.
4 p.m. Talking to Daryl Kinsel.
You.
So we're sitting in your residency here. The floor's taped off with some RAM board. You got a piano, a little record player, bunch of prints you're working on. So how long is this residency? You're the first one.
I'm the first one. What's up? Peace, y'all. This is your boy, D.S. Kinsel, better known as Daryl Kinsel, artist extraordinaire. Here, we are the first ever artist in residence here at the Westmoreland Museum of American Art. Now, I'm not serving this residency alone. I am joined by Anqwenique Kinsel, vocalist and wife of mine.
Yeah, where's she?
She's with the baby.
Yeah.
The amazing thing about this residency is that although Anqwenique and I are the first two artists rolling, Boom Concepts will be in partnership with the museum for 2 years, facilitating other artist opportunities. So we're just we're like beta testing everything.
Gotcha, yeah. So does that mean you guys will be selecting the next residences or sort of advising?
We're still building out how that selection process goes. We do believe it'll be more of a curated and invitation-based experience. There is a lot of amazing supports that comes with this residency. Being here in the 2 Scaithe rooms are part of that, having an amazing studio here within the museum. But Boom will be an integral part in referring and selecting the remaining. I think we have between 4 and 6 slots left.
So, and that's over 2 years. So it's like, those are pretty long stints then. That's cool.
Yeah, every artist, the initial objective was to have a 6-month stay being a resident and artist here at the Westmoreland Museum.
Mm-hmm.
Now not everyone is able to really do 6 months at a time, or that 6 months may look different. We may have some national artists serving here in the residency. So we're really being open and flexible about what that looks like.
That's cool. And you and I first met on the Penn Avenue art scene, which you have been a part of for quite a while. That's where Boom Concepts' headquarters resides. Tell me how you think it's changed or evolved.
It's changed, it's evolved, thankfully I was someone alongside yourself really acting a fool, cutting the rug.
Back in the day, yeah.
Back in the day. Ken, there's an amazing photo of me, you, and somebody else, and we're dressed up in costumes. I feel like it was like Halloween.
Oh yeah, on that pickup truck.
Yep,
I know.
Yep. Yeah. But I think like every main street or business district, things change, things evolve, different types of businesses have come. So, actually there are probably less art galleries on the avenue now, even than when you and I first met.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Thankfully, the Penn Avenue Arts and Business District hasn't been taken over by just simply restaurants. One of the
that's a good point. Yeah.
One of the amazing things that I've noticed is there are multiple kind of vintage and clothing shops on the avenue. There is a philanthropic partner on the avenue. There's after school programs, there's repair shops, there's black and brown businesses, there's beauty salons, there's, I think Penn Avenue is probably really one of the most interesting and unique kind of main streets. And that's definitely a credit to the arts and kind of all the storefront galleries that really help seed or reseed, some of the spaces that were closed down.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the only places that, it's not just bars or, what was it? It's been a while. The Sprout Fund used to be there, RIP, or whatever sort of iteration it is now.
But there's great, I think spaces like the Opportunity Fund have, become a real welcome partner on the avenue. They're a grant giving partner. They support a lot of the different spaces on the avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So, similar to what Sprout was doing, and, they sunset recently because not everything is forever.
Right,
that's kind of what we're talking about, evolution, change. There are, I think, other kind of spaces or partners or organizations that have come on the avenue. And although there are less art galleries, I think probably galleries are selling more art than they were 5 to 10 years ago. I think galleries are providing probably more formalized, structured support or paid opportunities for artists than they were 5 or 10 years ago. And the opportunity to really be a teaching artist, on Penn Avenue and in Pittsburgh has even grown. So, while there are less places to like drink wine and eat free cheese and, cut a muck like we used to do, I think there are really some more opportunities for artists to like just generate basic income off their practice.
Right. Yeah. It's not like
playground.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah, for sure. How old is Boom now? Boom has been around for a bit.
We're 6 this year.
6.
Yeah. It's probably the longest thing I've done in my life consistently.
And that Boom Concepts was born out of necessity or want? Like,
it has to be both, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It has to be both. We had a want to, every artist wants their own studio. That's like where it's based at, My studio is there. I was looking for a space. My business partner, Thomas Agnew, he was looking for a space to facilitate his business, his design work, his consulting work. And, what started out as a search for our own space really became something that we saw was a need on the avenue, because although, myself and a few others, Black artists had gotten opportunities or were kind of ingrained in the culture there, they really lacked representation, and there was no space run by Black and brown people that had a consistent run. You had spaces that were extremely welcoming to Black culture. I think about Most Wanted Fine Arts in particular.
Of course, yeah.
They hosted so many hip hop shows and incubated artists, incubated folks like myself. But really having a space that's run by Black and brown practitioners was something that we thought was extremely important. So having so much space at Boone as well, it's one of the larger spaces on the avenue. It just was only right to kind of open up the doors, still keep it rooted as a workspace for artists. That's what it was founded in, as a workspace for Thomas and myself, but also, helping artists, incubating artists, teaching them how to show work, being a space where people can make mistakes, just really teaching kids in the neighborhood, like, folks wasn't really coming down the Penn Avenue unblur people from Garfield. We like to say we really made a change on that. A lot of the folks who lived in Garfield call First Friday's White Night.
Right. Yeah, the promenade or whatever.
Yeah, promenade, or just like people coming on safari. Whereas, like, how do we kind of change that lens or really contribute to a space where, like, everyone is benefiting, or more people are benefiting and gaining opportunities? I don't know when's the last time I seen you in real life with this mask on. I don't know if it was really you. Oh, hey, all right, baby.
I don't know when the last time I saw you was either. I have not been. I've just been, the last 2 years trying to get sober in school and just like, working.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Not going out, not like. I did a little piece for Davik Appeal.
Okay.
At their last show down at the Ice House. The last day that show was open, that was the first time I'd been in a gallery all year, Just working. I don't know. It feels weird, but it's also like good. I feel like I've like purged all of the negative shit in my life, all of the negative people, and I don't know. I'm a recluse now.
Hey, man, it's part of that evolution.
Right? Yeah, that's true. So you grew up in Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh born and raised.
Super Yinzer.
Yeah.
Turbo Yinzer, I've been saying.
Turbo.
Yinzer is a colloquial term for someone native to Pittsburgh or the Western Pennsylvania region.
That is a little good explanation. I didn't realize. I don't always think about how, like, oh yeah, you got to explain some things to your, more international audience. But growing up in Pittsburgh, like, did you always have an artistic side, or did you like find that at some point, or did someone, pass that along to you? Like, how did you find yourself as an artist in Pittsburgh, I guess?
Well, man, I told the archivist here at the museum today is I didn't know a single artist growing up. I didn't know anybody. We didn't know any musicians, fine artists, performance artists, comedians, nothing like that. I come from a real blue-collar family, go to work, come home, cook dinner, watch TV together. I went to an amazing high school that really encouraged activity and interest in the arts. And 1 year, my art teacher at this high school took us to the Carnegie International, which is kind of like one of the oldest collecting opportunities for an institution or kind of like art fairs in North America. You know, it's like Basel before Basel. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's always beautiful and
Yeah.
like, you know, eye
And
opening. Yeah.
it was like my first, I had always been in museums. Growing up in the Hill District here in Pittsburgh, we would go to the Carnegie Library, and there was a way you could sneak into the museum from the library. So we would sneak into the museum. I loved going, but I will always see really old world masters. And so when in high school and I attended the Carnegie International, blew my mind to see contemporary art in this way. I remember there was like this ping pong table with natural foliage and just all different types of a full room immersion experience. And then, you know, that was something that really pushed me to say, okay, I think I could figure something out. And then, you know, I am a child of hip hop. Hip hop is the biggest influence in my life aside from my family. So, you know, I wasn't a rapper, I wasn't a DJ, wasn't a break dancer, you know, so the visual artist in hip hop is a graffiti artist. So, you know, I really explored, you know, tagging and graffiti arts and unsanctioned public work, you know, while also having this really high interest in contemporary art. And, you know, I really believe, you know, my style and the work that I do is a great kind of connection between, you know, contemporary practice and even contextual practice with how it's so community based and action based, and not always object based, you know, and just like being here and sneaking on campus here, using facilities, going to artist image resource, you know, just really absorbing everything in my environment. And thankfully having an independent arts district, you know, so every city, every big town, you know, has some independent arts district where, you know, hopefully artists can try and make some mistakes and find their way and, you know, put all those things together, put it in a jar, whamma lamma ding dong, here we are.
That's your artist soup there, you know. So you brought up the street art like aspect of your work. I think there's always been a pretty intense like activist aspect to your street art. You see yourself as an activist. How do you like sort of balance activism with like an approach to fine art? Are they like the same thing? Are they mixed together, or do you sort of try and separate it somehow?
You know, I really believe in the importance of creating agitational propaganda. You know, that has a long history in street art and fine art and posters and government work and work of the people, voice of the people, you know. So my work is really, and that's what graffiti is all about. You know, it was always agitational propaganda, pulling up those voices, you know, showing names and bringing messages, and also just simple beautification. You know, simple beautification, especially of places that have been divested. And, you know, I come from places that have been divested. So graffiti and street art have always been a piece and a place in the culture that really inspired me and pushed my work forward. I am somebody who cares. I don't always know if I'm an activist. I care. I care about other people. I want to understand other people. And I approach my work and my life in a humanistic way. You know, the market and capitalism are not the forefront of my approach. It's an important part of my approach because, you know, not everybody wants to buy a painting that has the word nigger on it.
Right, yeah.
I've had a lot of black people say, I don't really feel comfortable with that in my home. But you know what I think I wanted in my office? As a point of
Yeah,
power,
right.
you know?
Yeah, I understand.
So I have to really, because this is my job. Being an artist is my job. You know, I have to always make sure that my work is leading in a humanistic way. I make sure that I'm addressing concerns and care in my work. And, you know, when you are agitational, I'm just looking for truth. A lot of times my work poses questions or makes challenging statements that are fact-based or even institutionalized. You know, I did a public art piece that used silhouette outlines of police officers, and within each officer was the executive summary to President Obama's report on 21st century policing. That's a lot of research, brother.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a lot of research to be agitational and to be an activist.
Right.
But, you know, I also have to make sure that my work has a consistent aesthetic, right? That's the second part of the question you asked, right? So, you know, I have to make sure my work has a consistent aesthetic. My messaging is consistent and it always aligns with my values. You know, when you are expressing your care and your values through your work, you're probably a little bit more open to attack and criticisms that are aimed at the work, but since the work is a reflection of self or your values,
right, yeah.
then that criticism then comes to you directly, as opposed to, you know, someone who's creating work that's more commercialized and not a necessary reflection or a part of themselves. So, you know, it's always a journey creating work. When I first started out, I was making encaustic landscapes. And, you know, some people say a black man creating landscapes is activist-based artwork.
Right,
You don't typically see that. You know, I think it's just another subject matter for me. You know, a little bit of escapism because I grew up in a tightly condensed urban environment, you know. So I think it's important for artists to be able to offer different styles, consistent aesthetic, offer different styles, try different disciplines, and provide people an opportunity to enter into their practice in different ways. You know, I'm doing a puppet series with a partner where it's called Puppet Karaoke, and it's exactly what it sounds like.
I know. I've been seeing the pictures of that. It seems awesome. I have a really soft spot for puppets. I actually tried out to be a puppeteer at this like Christian puppet troupe out in Tarentum.
Yeah.
This was like 12 years ago or something. I was just like totally broke and needed a job and was like, I can do this. I know I can do this. And they offered me the job, and it ended up being you have to do 3 shows a day at different high schools. You have to pack the shit up in your car, unload it, build the stage, tear it down 3 times a day for, I think it was $9 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And I just could not pull the trigger. But
we got guesties.
Yeah. Hello.
We sit here talking about art. You want to sit with Papa?
So the family has just arrived.
Family has arrived.
And we got a hard eye roll.
Yeah, we got a hard
and a cold
eye roll.
shoulder there.
Yep. And you know, one of the amazing things about this residency and, you know, my work is that I have a partner who's an artist.
Right, yeah.
You know, and that keeps me sharp. That keeps me focused on the balance between my activism and my commercial exploits. And, you know, we're able to serve as individual artists at this residency together.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's also good to have someone, you know, to put you in check when, you know, you it's like, look at this. It's like, nah, I don't know about that.
Exactly. Or you should probably raise the price on that.
Yeah. activism. I like the way that you described it as you don't know if you're an activist, but you're definitely somebody who cares. I think that's a really interesting point of view, because I think some artists get labeled activists. They don't want to be considered an activist, or really, you know, are only sort of amplifying their own voice, you know, and it sort of gets muddled. But I really do like the idea of, like, I don't know if I'm an artist. I'm somebody who cares. I think that's...
Yeah, because, you know, I don't come from a radical family. I come from a family who's about respect, who's about community. And those are always really important aspects in my practice today. And I think activism really shows up in different ways. You know, the way that we've built Boom Concepts to be an institution that can partner with larger institutions and navigate resources, money, and opportunity to Black, brown, queer, femme artists. That's agitation.
Right, for sure.
If everybody was like painting kitty cats, bubble gum, and hearts, you know, the act is radical, and that is the activism. It's not always in the object making or the work. A lot of times it's in the back end piece. And, you know, a lot of it, just being an artist, the work and creating the work, that's pretty easy. The back end piece, your administration, you're writing about your work, writing grants, keeping your books, paying your taxes.
Yeah, seriously.
Let me say that last one more time. Paying your taxes as an independent contractor who may be doing lectures, receiving a $15,000 grant, selling, you know, $10,000 worth of paintings. How do you keep up with that? And a lot of my colleagues tell me is that they don't teach that in academia. They don't teach that part.
No way. No, man. They don't need, like, I've been saying that for ages. Like, they should have basic banking skills taught in high school. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. So people that aren't necessarily wired for that can at least have some sort of understanding, you know? But yeah, I think a lot of times that's why artists either give up, fail, or pass it on. You know, it's like, you know what? No, I'm going to get a job because I don't know how to do these books. Yep. I don't know how to write a grant.
Yep.
Dude, writing a grant is crazy. You know, I'm trying to fund a documentary right now, and I'm reaching out to everyone. And, you know, it's terrifying.
It's a necessary skill. I mean, we've been open for 6 years. We wouldn't be able to do it without grant support.
Right.
You know, so not only am I our founder, am I an artist myself with a studio at Boom, I'm also our primary grant writer.
Yeah.
So that is not only the grant proposal, but that's also the report on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of that stuff is like more programming and us spreading the wealth, not wealth coming directly to our household.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like that field building piece, that teaching and learning and peer-to-peer, steel sharpen steel activity is really what we're based in. And back to what you asked earlier, because there was a need for that.
Right.
You know, in order for Black and brown artists, queer artists, femme and women artists to really have better opportunities and to create just like a healthier ecosystem.
Yeah, more holistic, you know, art scene for sure.
Big Kim, baby, you so cool, man. I'm like happy you reached out to me, dog, because you always been cool on the avenue.
I'm glad you think so. A lot of people don't think that.
Kim Painter, Mr. Painter never had a problem with me, dog. You was always 100. You feel me? I have fond memories of cutting up in spaces with you or alongside you, you know, occupying space together.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things you just said about artists giving up, you know, that's something that I've really witnessed. Like, you know, being a hobbyist and being a professional are two totally different things.
Different worlds for sure.
And a lot of people who thought they were professionals are actually hobbyists.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, you know, but people need to have a space and a way to learn how to be a professional.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and it's like, I'm hoping by, like, you know, always having spaces to share my story here, or how we operate at Boom, or, you know, if we're doing radical collaborations with institutions like the Westmoreland, that people can kind of see what we're doing and say, okay, I want to learn how to do that. I want to get in on that. I want a piece of that.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite place to eat on Penn Avenue?
Favorite place to eat on Penn Avenue?
Do you eat on Penn Avenue?
I do eat on Penn Avenue. Favorite place to eat on Penn Avenue is the taco truck or Spack Brothers.
All right.
Third place is, this is my gentrification pick. Third place is the vegan chocolate milkshakes at Milkshake Factory.
I've been afraid to walk into that place.
It's so shiny.
Oh, I know. Yeah, right. All right, that wraps up episode number 16 of Good Art the Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the interview with D.S. Kinsel, Anqwenique, and Child make an appearance, which is lovely. Have a great day.